a uniform. Maybe it was Little League, or soccer, scouts, or military, or scrubs even. The first time you put it on, it feels surreal. Like this is Halloween and you're playing dress up. And then you stare at yourself in the mirror for a while, and it begins to feel right. You worked for this. You earned this. This is who you are now. And it becomes, in a sense, your identity. When you wear that uniform, you see the field through the eyes of a first baseman or a goalie. And you see the world through the eyes of a peacekeeper or a lifesaver. And it changes the way the world sees you too. When we make the choice to put on that uniform, there's always a cost associated. Maybe it means getting up every Saturday morning to go to an away game. Maybe it means being willing to lay your life down for another. Or it may mean just being able to look at blood and other fluids without having to pass out. Whatever the cost is, we make that choice each day over and over again whenever we put that uniform on. Now, I'm going to be honest with you for a moment. When I first read the gospel for today, I groaned. But because of my uniform, because of this collar and this stole, I pushed on. In doing some research, I read a commentary from a well-known scholar that even jokingly, I think, suggested that we pastors might be tempted to preach on one of the other lessons today, or to find some random seminary student who needs experience. Because this is a hard gospel. I mean, who really wants to preach about Jesus saying that we're supposed to hate our families? It doesn't seem right. It seems contrary to everything we know. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of you thought that there was a typo in what I was reading just a few moments ago. But there wasn't. That was what it said. You see, in Luke's gospel, we come across a Jesus that doesn't seem so very warm and fuzzy. He's actually quite confrontational. And he doesn't ever give into, well, this is just the way things are always done. Luke shows us a Jesus that turns upside down everything we thought we knew. Everything about social order and social hierarchy, how things are supposed to be done. We find that wealth does not equal power with Jesus, and that women are important, not just property. And the marginalized, the outsiders are included and brought into the inner circle and lifted up. The Jesus that is revealed through Luke's gospel calls us out on our stuff. And he won't let us slide by with committing less than 110%. The gospel we have before us today is the equivalent to Jesus saying, fish or cut bait, cook or get out of the kitchen. When the sun is up, make hay. A little less conversation and a little more action, please. Do or do not, there is no try. Put on the uniform or get off the team. You see, when Jesus is saying that we need to hate our families in order to be his disciple, this is hyperbole, but it's still serious. In ancient times, the ancient Jews and the ancient Arabs would use the term hate to denote separating from, detaching oneself from. This didn't mean being angry or bitter, just being removed. You see, the ancient Jewish culture was centered around family. Each person was vital to the health of that family, to their food and prosperity. And if one member of a family was to leave, to follow this radical teacher, this rabbi, this preacher, this rabble-rouser and troublemaker, it could be detrimental to the health of that family. And it could lead to separation and detachment and maybe even some animosity. While Jesus was traveling here, he is on his way to Jerusalem, where he knows that the cross is waiting for him and that his time is running out. Jesus wants his would-be followers to understand that this is an urgent matter. This isn't something to just put off until next season. There is a choice to be made. It's not all fun and games. There's a cost to consider. Luke has addressed his gospel to Theophilus, which means lover of God. And in his writing, we once again encounter Jesus turning upside down everything we thought we knew about what was important. We can no longer get by focusing our life on our goals and then just squeezing Jesus in where it's convenient and when it's convenient. We can't have it both ways. We can't be just a little bit pregnant with Jesus. Jesus doesn't want to be our hobby. He wants to be our identity. Jesus wants us to put on his uniform, the one we were given in our baptism when we are claimed as children of God, when we are transformed into disciples and followers of Christ, Theophilus, lovers of God and lovers of one another, not just Sunday mornings, but every single day. Because Jesus first journeyed to Jerusalem, because Jesus first was lifted on the cross, because Jesus has first given himself to us completely in love and grace, we are called to this new identity, this new uniform, and to look at the world through Jesus' eyes, where we can choose to lift up our crosses. And in doing so, we lift up those who are more marginalized and oppressed, no matter the cost. Even if the cost means other people getting angry at us for what we say or what we do, or if it means being scared, or that we have to get off the bench and get involved. And we can't sleep in on Sunday mornings anymore. And it's time to detach, to separate ourselves from whatever would hold ourselves back. Whether it's petty arguments about what color the carpet in the narthex is, or loyalty to the past and the way things always was done, or fear that God didn't make us good enough, or guilt, or grief that would prevent us from the church and from allowing Christ to infuse himself into us completely. Now, it may be 2,000 years later, but the message is still the same. This is still an urgent matter. We don't have time to delay. There is someone who needs us to bring them Christ today. And when we come forward to receive the gift of Christ and the bread and the wine, we remember that Jesus has first chosen us and chosen that we are worth the cost. And so in coming forward, we are choosing to put on that uniform, that the cost is worth it. And we trust God that everything else will fall in place when Jesus is first. Amen.